fusion of rational thought and political analysis. This is what your brain has been waiting for. News, politics, and issues enhanced. You have just joined the Wilkow Majority.
The next generation of great talk radio. The undisputed leader of the new school. Andrew Wilkow, SiriusXM Patriot. Phone lines, as always, 13695 Patriot, 957-2874. The email, the spell my name right, WILKOW, at WilkowMajority.com. Individual Patriot first, conservative second, Republican third, and working every single day. That's the last time you're going to hear me say it like that. This is the last time. Tomorrow, we have a new intro. Because we launched the program August 9th, 2006, and I'm going to be 50 next week. So the whole next generation thing is going away tomorrow. It's the last time you're going to hear me say it. It's going to be weird for me tomorrow. But anyway. Marc Rudov is a branding advisor to some of the biggest companies and their CEOs. And I haven't spoken to him in a while, but something's amiss in Pennsylvania as it relates to Dr. Oz. Mark, how you doing?
Great, Andrew. It's been a while. Well, last time we were on together, I lived in Crapifornia.
Crap. Wait, that's a new one. Crapifornia?
That's right. That's what I call my old state.
You have Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you just announced that tomorrow you're going to have a new intro, so I'm on the cusp of the new. I get the last day of the old intro.
That is true. This was the last time anybody would hear me say it, and tomorrow we start anew. I know you wanted to come on and talk about Dr. Oz. In the beginning of this, I thought Kathy Barnett was the real conservative. Some people liked her, some people didn't. I've interviewed her several times, over the years. I've gotten to know her. And then out of nowhere, you had Mehmet Oz, who said, I guess I want to be a senator too. And this was, where a lot of people who supported Trump were kind of like cocking their heads to the side, like, what? Why? This guy's not some known conservative commodity. He's like the TV doctor guy. Not that that's a bad thing or that disqualifies anyone. I mean, they used to say Trump was the apprentice guy, even though he's more than that. But I didn't understand why. Of all the candidates that were running, Trump would endorse Mehmet Oz, and now Fetterman seems to be, doing these funny videos from the basement, and I don't know. I'm not feeling Dr. Oz.
On April 9th, Trump officially endorsed Oz, and this is what he wrote. I believe that Mehmet Oz will be the one most able to win the general election against a radical left Democrat. I assure you that Trump is none too pleased at the moment. Fetterman is winning by doing nothing. And it says two things, Andrew. One, Pennsylvanians are insane. And two, Oz is not popular. Among Republicans, he only gets 35% of them enthusiastic. The thing is that John Fetterman is Joe Biden's twin in a Herman Munster body. He is for high taxes. He believes in climate change, open borders, open jails. He's a slacker dude, basement bum, lover of poverty chic. He's a trust fund baby, and he hates America and himself. If you look at his portrait on the Pennsylvania government website, he's dressed like Fidel Castro. That shows great disrespect to everybody, including himself. So Pennsylvanians elected this guy. He's beating Oz in the polls by 11 points, again, as I said, by doing nothing. Oz, I know Oz. He's a smart guy. He is highly accomplished, but he doesn't have an instinct for messaging. He has an incoherent message, which means his brand is bad, which explains why only 35% of Republicans are enthusiastic about him. He talks about green energy. And I've actually said to him, Mehmet, this is Pennsylvania, the largest producer of natural gas in America. You do not ever say green energy. You do never mention electric cars, but he does it anyway. And worst of all, he's afraid to challenge the disabled Fetterman to debates. I've encouraged him to do that. Fetterman still slurs his speech because of his stroke. He has admitted this in the press. He's seeing a speech therapist. But here's the thing about Oz. I believe that when he looks in the mirror, he sees a heart surgeon, not a warrior. He won't shed his doctor identity. He won't remove his stethoscope and his scrubs. Do you remember when Michael Jordan played baseball in 1994 with the Birmingham Barons, the farm team of the Chicago White Sox? When he was on the baseball field, he was not wearing his basketball uniform. He changed leagues, so he changed his uniform. Oz is loath to do that. He doesn't want to hurt John Fetterman because Fetterman is disabled, and that means he's going to lose because you have to be able to beat the crap out of your opponent if necessary. If you look at Ronnie Jackson, congressman from Texas, he was a doctor to Bush, Obama, and Trump. He goes by Ronnie Jackson. He just wrote a book, and I'll hold it up when we do TV tonight. Holding the Line, Ronnie Jackson. It doesn't say Dr. Ronnie Jackson. John Barrasso, orthopedic surgeon from Wyoming. He doesn't call himself Dr. Barrasso, John Barrasso. Rand Paul, another doctor, Rand Paul. But Dr. Oz's whole persona is Dr. Oz. His website is Dr. Oz. So the whole problem is that he's trying to beat a guy who is beloved by the lefties in this state by not beating him. I mean, you can't win cerebrally. You have to win viscerally. And you can't trip over your shoelaces by talking about green energy and electric cars in a state that produces the most natural gas in America.
Let me ask you something. Hold on. Let me jump in and ask you something about Fetterman. Fetterman, if he were running as a Republican, they'd say his appearance is that of some kind of neo-Nazi, right? He's this big, shaved head, goatee guy. The phrase, you know this, Pennsyltucky, right? That's what they disaffectionately call people who don't live in Philadelphia or don't live in Pittsburgh. You know, they call the center of the state Pennsyltucky. He looks like what they call Pennsyltucky, like he spent his summers at Knoebels or something. You know exactly.
That's just it. That's that poverty chic I'm talking about.
Right, but he went to Harvard Business. But he's running on vibes and trippy things and
right.
And you I mean, the left loves him because they can use his image. It's almost like a jujitsu. They're using his image against Oz, even though what he stands for has nothing to do with the image that he projects.
Now, and I said before that Fetterman and Biden are twins. Pennsylvanians hate, they loathe Joe Biden. And John Fetterman is Joe Biden in a Herman Munster body. So why is it that Pennsylvanians will cut him a break? Because he's created this image. I went to Harvard, but I was the mayor of Braddock, which is an S-hole. Doesn't have a bank, doesn't have an ATM machine, doesn't have a grocery store or a gas station. He was getting $150 a year to be the mayor of something that looked like bombed out Baghdad. But the liberals love that stuff. And because you know what it is, Andrew? When you act like that, you care. They think you care. But they're so stupid, they don't understand that when you raise taxes and increase regulations and let people out of prison and let the invaders over the border, that means you don't care. But liberals are too stupid to comprehend that. But so my whole point is, if you can't beat this guy who's a zero, something is wrong. And what's wrong is that Mehmet Oz doesn't want to pulverize John Fetterman. I told him, challenge him to debates because he will have to decline. He can't do it. And that will become news. But Oz won't do it. So he's literally sitting in his basement, sending out these tweets and these videos, as you said, and he's winning. It's astounding. Oz should be able to steamroll John Fetterman. And that just shows how weak he is. And that's what is so sad.
Did you like anyone better in the primary?
Oh, well, I have to admit that for a while, I did like Kathy Barnett, but then all of this stuff started coming out about her that made me think, wait a minute, how much of her background is she inventing? I don't know. I also know McCormick, and, I had problems with him too. He is, I don't know if it's still on the World Economic Forum website, when he was with the hedge fund firm, and he was saying that America is systemically racist. He's also connected with the Aspen Institute. So I had problems with him too. But personally, I like him. Also highly accomplished. I never believed he wanted to be a senator. I believed, and I said this on WILK radio in Wilkes-Barre, I believed that he was angling to become Trump's vice president in 24. That's what he was doing. And he denied that to my face. But the thing is with Oz, I mean, he has so much going for him. It is just unfathomable that he cannot beat Fetterman. Well, I shouldn't say he can't beat him. He won't beat him. He won't do what it takes to beat him. I live in the city of Pittsburgh, which is 80% Democrat. So I don't expect to see any Oz yard signs. But I've been in the outskirts in Trump land, and I've never seen any Oz yard signs. I've asked my friends, have you ever seen an Oz yard sign? Nobody's ever seen an Oz yard sign. So he's not winning the hearts and minds of Republicans. And if he's not doing that, it's really hard for him to win. So the question is, can he turn it around? And the answer is, unless he becomes a warrior tomorrow and decides to do everything that I just recommended, he can't win. Because Fetterman's on a roll, again, by doing nothing. And to go back to your original question, why did Trump pick him? Why did he endorse him? Trump likes people who are good on TV. It's true. And so one of the things he said when he was describing Oz is he's been on TV for a long time. We all know him, and he's good on TV. And I think that means he can win. Whereas if you look at John Fetterman, he's terrible on TV. He's just not a pleasant man to look at. And so Trump assumed it's a shoo-in.
How does Trump feel about it now, you think?
Well, his silence is deafening. You never hear Trump talk about Oz anymore. And Oz also has removed, I think, every trace of Trump on his website. So I don't know. I guess it's mutual. But, he was recently in Pittsburgh, I think a week ago, and a couple of people I know went to that little town hall meeting, and somebody asked Oz, are you willing to help try to get rid of the Department of Education? And he was very mealy-mouthed about it. He hemmed and he hawed, and he didn't give a straight answer. Now, just the other day, Trump said we have to abolish the Department of Education. It's a disaster. And it's been a disaster since Jimmy Carter created it. And so, and no matter what you point to, Oz is not consistently conservative and consistently appealing. You can't say that you're against open borders and also say you're for electric cars. Electric cars will destroy this country. Getting rid of fossil fuels will destroy civilization as we know it. So to even speak about green energy is just nullifying everything else that you're saying. So it really doesn't make any sense, Andrew.
Well, I got you here. Let's talk about intra-branding, the keystone of corporate agility. And I know that you wrote a book about anti-wokeness. Do you see?
Well, it's in that book. And by the way, you can visit me at marcrudov.com, where you can get that book.
I just wanted to ask, do you see any companies, because look, pendulums swing, right? In culture, in music, in art, and film. Do you see any businesses in the near future getting bold enough to say, okay, people are sick of this woke crap. We're gonna market we're gonna market against it. Remember when Burger King had that commercial "Eat Like a Man" and it really upset people? But like that was kind of like taking a stab at like, you know, some of the I guess maybe it was the rise of the, I mean, now they have the Impossible Whopper, but they were kind of taking a shot at that before they introduced the Impossible Whopper. Do you see any companies that are going to stand up and boldly go against wokeness, or you think it's here to stay for the long term?
Well, one of the companies that I mentioned in my book is Goya Foods. I think its name is John Yonanami. I'm mispronouncing it, but he's running this company, and he's pro-Trump. He sells to the Hispanic market, and he's doing very well. And he proved that by standing up to the woke mob, he can thrive. AOC tried to take him down, and she failed. It reminds me of, and I wrote this in my second book, some mob came to see the president of Ohio State University. They camped out in his office, and they were protesting something. It doesn't really matter what. He says, "I give you 15 minutes to get the hell out of here, or I'm throwing you in jail and I'm expelling you." Guess what they did? They left. And if you stand up to the mob will go away. If you concede to the mob, you're toast. So Goya Foods is a great example of a company that's standing up. And if every CEO would do that, we wouldn't have a problem in this country. But most CEOs, believe it or not, are spineless and going along with whatever the World Economic Forum dictates and whatever the left-wing mob dictates. They're not even fighting it. So the example is there. If they all stand up, look what happened to Disney. I mean, Disney stock cratered, and parents are bailing on that company, and they continue to do it. They continue to offend parents. And it just shows that if you continue down the path of wokeness and this Marxism, you're going to lose. You know, go woke, go broke. And that's what's happening. But if you stand up and you get other CEOs to stand up with you, you can fight back and you can defeat them. And it's a matter of having a spine and some cojones.
Well, the fascinating thing about Disney, and look, my family loves the parks. My in-laws are Disneyophiles. They actually bought a condo so they could be close to the parks in Florida, is that Bob Chapek was always seen as a guy. He came not from the creative side. He came from the what they called the destination side. He was a turnstile guy, you know, dollars and cents. And right. It seemed like he was cajoled into this by angry employees. And I'm like, are you the CEO or are they in charge? It was kind of like, I mean, there are some CEOs that are the woke, right? They're not caving to the mob. They're part of the mob. They've moved the mob into the C-suite. It was odd to watch Chapek react this way because, first of all, there was no don't say gay law. And the pressure he was getting was from Disney employees in California that it would have no effect on them. And it was just a very bad rollout of what he considered the policy of Disney. I don't understand why Disney would even be at all interested in the parents' rights and education law. It would have no effect. They said it was going to make Disney employees less safe. How? I mean, if you have such a silly take on it, are you sure you should be the CEO? But then again, he got another 3-year contract worth $32 million a year.
Well, of course he did. But my answer to that is introduce me to his wife. Because most men are scared of their wives and do what their wives tell them to do. And I said this on Newsmax a year ago. The reason that most Republicans cave to Democrats is because they have liberal wives. And so these guys are getting pressure from their wives and from their Marxist children. Do you remember? There was a time when fathers would tell the children what to do. Now the children are telling the fathers what to do. And so but when I said that on TV, that Republicans are caving to Democrats because of their liberal wives, I got emails from all over America telling me I was spot on. So whenever you see a CEO caving to the mob, introduce me to his wife.
I can assure you that's not a problem. We had a little get together at my house, polite company. My wife was walking around in a tank top that quite literally said "right-wing wacko" on it.
Well, there you go.
And I'm not kidding. And I'm not kidding. Her tank top said "right-wing wacko" on it when people showed up at the house.
I believe you, and I think that's great. If you look at the conservatives, if you look at Cruz, if you look at Paul, if you look at Trump, they all have conservative wives. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference. If the wife is, 80% of women are liberal, at least. And most men are actually conservative. So mathematically, they're going to get liberal wives. And guess what? If the wife says, dump Trump or I'm dumping you, guess what he's going to do? And that's what you saw. So anyway, I don't know. Getting back to Mehmet Oz, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about his wife.
I think we need a new dating site.
I don't know what her. I beg your pardon.
I think we need a new dating site.
Well, I believe there is one for conservatives, but
the numbers the numbers you just laid out, a pretty depressing number for young single men. I mean, 80% of women. I mean.
Right. The dating site for the conservative dating site is all men because there are almost no conservative.
Oh, that wouldn't be a conservative dating site then.
Right. But getting back to Oz, I don't know what kind of wife he has. I mean, I don't know what her political affiliation is. She may be, just because if she's a Republican, it doesn't mean that she's a conservative. And you know that a lot of Republicans are not conservatives. They cave all the time. They vote for spending and spending and spending. So we badly needed Oz to keep the Senate seat Republican in this state. We badly need the Senate to be Republican majority. And at this point, I don't have a lot of confidence that Oz is going to take the football across the goal line. He's not showing any signs. And in a month, cheat by mail begins in Pennsylvania. And November 8th is literally 3 months away from today. That's election day. So can he turn it around in a month for cheat by mail and 3 months for voting at the polls? He can do it. Will he do it? I wouldn't bet on it based on everything he's done so far and not done. So it's very sad because that's all we have.
All right. Well, I gotta take my commercial break. You know how this works. I'll be seeing you on the Salem News Channel tonight in the 5 p.m. hour. Marc Rudov. I will speak to you soon, but I gotta take the break.
Look forward to it, Andrew. Talk to you tonight.
All right. We went way long, but that was worth it. Let me meet your wife. That's rough. That's rough. Oh, you caved in? Which one of these women is your wife? I want to talk to her. We're right, they're wrong. That's the end of the story. The arguments on this radio program cannot be broken. SiriusXM Patriot.